Have you ever walked past a dumpster and been like, yo, I wonder what's in that dumpster?
Either put on these glasses or start eating that fast.
Yeah, there's a baby in the garbage can. You're listening to the True Crime Dumpster podcast with hosts Amy and
Kevin.
And we're coming back at you this week with episode, 68.
68? It's true.
It's really happening.
That one comes after 67, I think.
It's true. And who are we going to be talking about this week, Kevin?
This week we have someone by the name of Arturo Gatti.
It's not Gaddy.
Gatti.
Okay.
And he was a famous boxer. I don't know if any of you might have heard of him before, but you're about to. So we've all been locked in our homes during this COVID thing going crazy. The masks, the hand sanitizer, virtual cocktail hour, getting drunk with friends via Zoom or whatever. I feel like we're living in a Black Mirror episode sometimes.
You and me haven't done too much of that stuff.
No, but Kim was having my sister Kim was having these virtual brunches and getting wasted with her friends online. It's ridiculous. So dystopian.
I mean, it's better than spreading illness to a bunch of your friends and still being able to see them.
I disagree.
Okay.
But I'm sure Netflix and Amazon...
You disagree because you just didn't do it because you thought it was kind of lame. You didn't disagree because
I was making a joke.
Okay, well, I'm just making sure that, people don't think weird things of you.
Please, listener, don't think anything bad about me or weird. For Amy's sake, not mine.
All right, let's get to it.
So, trapped indoors, I found myself spending a lot of time looking for something to watch. And
Tiger King. I think everybody watched that, right?
Yeah.
That's a year ago.
That one.
Puzzles and the Tiger King.
Forgotten now.
Those are so done.
But when I turn on Netflix or something like that, I feel like I scroll through the titles longer than
what you would watch something for.
Yeah, exactly. And so instead of settling for something I probably wouldn't like, I've been watching a bunch of old fights on YouTube. A lot. What kinds of fights, you ask?
Like girls fighting over shoes or at the mall.
I'd watch that, yeah. But any kind,
that would
really.
be weird if that's specifically.
If that was my niche, yeah, that would be weird. But I think street fights are fun. There's lots of cool
to do or watch?
To watch.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't been a part of one in a while, so I mean.
You haven't been like a shark versus the Sharks versus the Jets? Was that?
That's hockey.
No, isn't that like West Side Story or something?
Is that like a musical or something?
I know you hate musicals.
You're asking the wrong guy.
But isn't the Sharps? No, not the Sharps.
It's the Sharps versus the Skins. Yeah, I think I've heard of that one.
All right, I'm gonna stop. You just keep going.
So, there's tons of MMA fights and UFC and all that stuff, but my favorite is boxing. I don't know why. It's just more pure, I think.
I played a lot of the Mike Tysons Knockout. Was that what it was called?
Yeah, that game was fucking fun.
I had it on Game Boy.
Game Boy.
I still have my Game Boy.
I know you do. You probably still play it. So when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of boxing. I didn't really follow it too closely. I just watched it. It was on TV a lot. But I remember Mike Tyson, when he got knocked out for the first time, I was going home and I thought the president got shot or something. I was just hearing people yelling from their houses and stuff. It was, I was like, what the hell happened? And someone came out and was like, Mike Tyson just got knocked out.
When did he bite the guy's ear off? Did that happen?
Evander Holyfield, yeah, he did. Not off, but he took a chunk off.
Dang.
I don't remember when
that was. A lot later. Because
Mason
I think
would know. This is a question for Mason.
He had the face tattoo by then, right? Mike Tyson?
He might have, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, he got the face tattoo, and people were like, "Whoa!" And then I think he ripped off the guy's ear, and then they're like, "Whoa!" Anyways,
He's a fun one to watch for sure. So one day on my quest for a vintage bloodbath, I came across part 1 of what would be a barbaric trinity of fights that became legendary: Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. So brutal. It was so insane, I immediately watched the other 2 fights. The other 2 fights were even more fucked up. During the third fight, Gotti broke his hand on Mickey Ward's hip, and he continued to fight and won in a decision. Yeah,
Ouch.
absolute savagery.
Wait, so he won even though he broke his hand?
Yeah, he continued fighting, yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch is fucking right.
I had a student who broke his nose during a basketball game and he still played, but they lost. That's not a good story.
And then did he find $10? Well, at least he found $10.
But like when you break your nose, it like really fucks up your balance. And he was seeing like Tweety birds, like he
really
and he missed,
Tweety birds.
He missed what are those things called? Free throw. He missed a free throw, and he almost never
Lots
missed
of people miss
free
those.
throws.
Free throw.
Three throw. Keep going.
So believe it or not, Amy hates boxing,
A lot.
but loves murder. She can't understand why I would want to watch people
can't.
beating the shit out of each other.
I can't do it.
It's therapeutic. Why do
especially
you
MMA.
love murder? That's more disturbing.
Because I guess it's more real.
Yeah, talk your way out of that one. So I've tried to explain some of the technical aspects of boxing to her. I actually went to a boxing gym for a small time in Portland.
Molly.
Hatchet.
I was gonna say Ringwald.
I'd rather go.
Molly McConnell, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she's a world champion for like MMA, women's. She's a badass.
Not MMA, boxing, Amy. See, there's 2 different things.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's like football and soccer,
Gotcha.
but not how they're the same sport. With
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sorry, that
you
was
mean
a
how
bad.
You mean like soccer and tennis?
That's more. Yeah, it's
Okay.
exactly. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like football or football.
So when I went to this gym, it was definitely the best shape I was ever in. And one time I got in the ring with a guy that had
Now
been.
you're working on your dad bod. Okay, I need to stop interrupting you. Keep going.
Yeah, well, that's what these
I'm
sedentary
joking, I'm
days
joking.
of doing to me. But I stepped in the ring with this dude that had been boxing for years, and we were just doing like simple combination drills. We weren't like sparring or anything. But we had the ring to ourselves, so we were moving around using the ring. And this dude had me tripping over my feet, just like using his footwork and stuff. He wasn't doing anything. And I was literally like falling down and totally out of breath. It was very humbling. So I have total respect for anyone that can make boxing look good. And I think it's pretty safe to say that the majority of people that listen to these true crime podcasts are female, yes?
Women, yeah.
Women, yes. And am I totally off the mark thinking that most women, like my lovely wife, also do not like boxing?
I don't know.
Can't you speak for the womenkind?
I don't hate boxing. I just don't love it. That's all.
So why the fuck are we doing an episode about this Gotti dude?
That's true, yeah. Because this isn't technically a murder.
Because
But maybe it is.
this dude's young, hot wife may have had this 3-time world champion, quote, suicided, like the Clintons do. Look it up.
Oh my God.
It's sketchy as fuck. And this story is sketchy as fuck. So here we go. Arturo Gatti was born on April 15th, 1972, in a small Italian town near one of the oldest monasteries in the world, Calabria, in Italy. He started attending a school in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, obviously a little bit later on, and eventually gained citizenship and lived there full time. As a kid, Arturo liked martial arts, like most boys do. He also liked boxing. Possibly he just liked hitting things, but at 8 years old, he started entering youth boxing competitions. In 1990, Arturo entered the Youth World Championship. He lost the fight, but made an impression. They were going to keep him on the team for the Summer Olympics, but Gotti left to start his professional career. And on June 10th, 1991, he won his first pro fight by TKO. That's
For those
a
of you
technical
who-
knockout.
Oh, I thought it was
For those that-
total knockout.
I mean, it means the same thing.
Really? Okay.
If you get knocked down 3 times in one round, that's going to be a TKO. They won't let you fight after that. Or if they fuck you up bad enough that the ref is just like, no way, dude.
For 1 second, I thought it was totally cute overload. Just kidding.
That's why I love my wife.
If anybody knows like early internet stuff, there was that guy who thought he was Peter Pan.
You
and
mean Michael Jackson?
No, people like. For those of you who know, you know. When I said that, his face came to mind. I'll post a picture of him on our Facebook group. But he's the. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's got like the bowl cut, and
I think I know who you're talking
and he
about.
dresses up like Peter Pan, and and on his website would put TCO everywhere.
You're talking about your friend Jamie, right? He went through a phase, didn't he?
And he does listen to this podcast, so he's probably going to hear that. No, but he would always put on his website TCO, and it was totally cute overload. That is not TKO. Keep going.
Not at all. Not at all. So, Gotti quickly made a name for himself. He had a flashy style and a savage left hook. He was a pretty boy with an iron jaw. Gotti would go on to win the titles in 3 different weight divisions. He signed a deal with HBO. He was killing it. He lost fights too, but he was a tough bastard. A tough bastard that always had a smile on his sometimes completely battered face. Probably, most likely, undoubtedly, his most famous fights were the ones with Mickey Ward. These fights were like watching an old Godzilla movie. No defense, just swinging fists with total lethal intent. Both fighters giving each other caveman lobotomies for sure. They fought like this 3 times, and by the end, they actually became close friends. Very cute. Talk about total cute overload.
Yeah, total TCO.
Total. If anyone out there is...
TKO led to TCO.
Totes. If anyone out there has seen the Marky Mark movie, The Fighter, anyone? Amy?
TCO.
It was, well, Marky Mark, so he's totally hot. And it was a Hollywood movie.
THO.
Okay, stop. Totally shut the fuck up. So the movie was about the life and career of Mickey Ward. Little fun fact. So what Arturo's fellow boxers all admired about him was his punching power. He was a fucking savage.
Wasn't Marky Mark also in that movie, like Rockstar, where it was like kind of the story of like Blaze Bayley?
Yes.
Wow, he tends to be a lot of people who...
No, it wasn't Blaze Bayley. It was Ripper Owen.
Oh, Ripper Owen.
Yeah, the Judas Priest.
Oh, I get Ripper Owen and Blaze Bayley mixed up because they both suck. And they replaced really amazing people for a period of time.
That's also why I love my wife. So he was a savage puncher, and his fellow boxers also had enormous respect for Arturo's heart. He would never give up. He would take tons of abuse, get knocked down, only to come back, and most of the time win the fight. Like I said, he won the 3rd fight with Mickey Ward with a broken right hand. And if anyone out there has ever tried punching someone over and over again with a broken hand,
I haven't
it
tried
probably hurts a lot.
Okay, I'm not going to try that.
So in his career, he did lose 9 fights, but he never quit. Arturo also partied as hard as he fought. His little brother, Fabrizio, said Arturo partied till the sun came up every other day. He was a big fan of go-go bars or strip clubs. Who ain't?
I'm not like the hugest fan. I mean, whatever. They're very different in Portland than they are here. Here, they have PJ Grunts.
Yeah, they have cooler names here.
Except for now it's not called PJ Grunts anymore. It's just PJs, which is stupid. They should have just kept the grunts.
I agree.
And Spearmint Rhino.
That makes no sense.
I know.
Yeah. Is that like a stain that gets left on your shirt or something?
What?
Arturo was probably also addicted to pain meds, as tons of fighters, NFL players, hockey players pro wrestlers, like we talked about, you get the idea. All these guys are always addicted to pain meds.
Yeah, because their life is pain.
Life is pain.
And their life is more pain.
More than ours.
Yeah. I don't get hit for a living. Why'd you give me that look?
He also liked cocaine and chasing women. So a longtime friend of Gotti, Mario Costa, said, quote, he lived in go-go bars. His life had no structure whatsoever. He would get up.
Sorry. I imagine like him having like a bed there and like making eggs in the morning.
At the bar.
Well, if he lived there.
So his friend said his breakfast was 3 Percocets.
Oof.
And then he would go to the bar.
Oh, that's not good.
You can't. It's not sustainable. I'll say that. The party was not always a fun one. Gotti had overdosed on painkillers, engaged in numerous brawls with strangers, and had run-ins with police. He was arrested for driving under the influence in 3 states, and his driver's license was canceled for 10 years. Gotti also had a dark side. Usually, the combination of repeated head trauma and the painkiller booze diet leads to depression. In court documents...
NCTE, or whatever that is, right? Isn't it CTE?
It's
the repeated head injury stuff that like all the football players were getting, like Aaron Hernandez and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is, that's the letters, but
yeah, it's something like that.
It's got 3 letters. In court documents filed in 2006, a former girlfriend Gotti was living with at the time stated that he had, quote, attempted suicide by overdosing on cocaine, alcohol, and prescription drugs the year prior. Hospital records from New Jersey say that Gotti arrived at an emergency department in an, quote, unresponsive state, testing positive for cocaine and alcohol. When was that? Remember that? Who was the singer that sang all those songs about partying?
Andrew W.K. Did I get that?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Andrew W.K.
What year was that?
2005, 4, 3.
I wonder if Arturo Gatti was like pumped on that shit.
Total fucking party.
There's a lot of 3-letter like
TFP.
acronyms here. Hope you guys can keep up. So in 2004, his friend Mario Costa said...
He sang party till you puke. Right?
He put party in front of anything.
Yeah, he
didn't
drink either.
Party till you brush your teeth. Party...
You're not funny. Keep going.
Okay. So in 2004, his friend Mario Costa said in an interview for The Fifth Estate, which I guess is an NBC show, that Gotti threatened to commit suicide during a late-night visit to his home. Quote, he says, "Please give me my gun," said Costa. Quote, "I was afraid I had my gun there, but I told him I don't have my gun. I believe if I gave him my gun that night, he would probably blow his head off right in front of me. That's how bad he was." So it seems all is not champagne and booty claps. In late 2006, Gotti meets Amanda Rodrigues. She says they met while walking dogs, while other sources say they met at the go-go bar.
Walking dogs means going to the strip club.
That's what it means when I tell you I'm walking the dogs.
Yeah, right. We have too many dogs for that to be true.
I just take them to the go-go bar.
You take them to PJ Grunts.
They do well up on the stage there.
You pimp our dogs out? That's disgusting. It's not a brothel, right?
It's a dog brothel.
Okay, keep going.
So Amanda was born in Brazil. She was a fiery 19-year-old dancer, and the two started a very passionate relationship. Crazy relationships are fun until they aren't.
Yep.
I'm sure everyone listening can think of their own crazy one and how it was awesome at the start and then awesomely shitty and tumultuous soon after.
Mm-hmm.
My crazy ex is related to a serial killer.
Mm-hmm. A big one, too.
Very related and very violent. And I think we kind of mentioned this all before.
Yeah.
I'm glad that one's over. Also in 2006, Gotti retired from professional boxing.
In 2007, Gatti and Amanda Rodrigues got married and had a son, Arturo Jr. And of course, this is when things started to get shitty. In 2008, Gatti was cited and arrested for domestic violence against Amanda in Hawaii. Amanda was also known to be violent with Gatti as well, one time beating him over the head with a broom, telling him his mother was a whore, whoa, and that his sisters were prostitutes. Whoa, fun stuff.
Fiery.
In 2009, a restraining order from the Court of Quebec was issued, ordering Gatti to keep away from his estranged wife. Gatti would later be arrested and charged for violating this order. Clearly, they are very passionate people, no?
Yes.
Was she Brazilian?
She was from Brazil.
Okay, so a hot-blooded Brazilian and Italian.
Yeah.
It's a
Lots of
fiery
passion.
bunch, yeah. Despite all of this, the couple went on... Okay, so this is weird. Despite all of this, they went on a 3-week Europe and Brazilian vacation.
Weird, right?
Well, how do you do that when you have a restraining order?
I'm not sure.
It must have been later that year. I mean, this happens with like
Their
fairly
relationship
like
was so
abusive
crazy.
couples. Yeah, they're like women and men get restraining orders against each other, and then they get lifted and they get back together, and it's like a game a lot of times, you know. And it's hard. I think that's why some people kind of like look down upon like women or men that have been abused and go back to their abuser. Like, I don't understand how you could do that. It's like you can't explain that kind of stuff, you know. Like it's so psychologically like fucked, you know, when you have an abusive relationship. It's a lot, you know. It's like with drugs, like it's you know it's bad for you and you keep going back for it, and there isn't necessarily any logic or reason to it, but you know it's not good for you, you know.
Yeah, when you're in the middle of it, you don't see how toxic it really is.
I mean, how long did you stay with you know who for? And you guys were in a hellishly toxic relationship. Couple years, right?
Some would say too long.
I would be one of those people. So the 3-week trip was kind of a second honeymoon to try and rekindle the relationship, but apparently Amanda had filed for separation right before they got to Brazil. According to Gotti's friend Tony Rizzo, Gotti called him during the middle of the trip to tell him that the marriage was over. Yeah, why continue with the trip then?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
It sounds like
or it's a setup. If that's what you know. Okay, we'll get there. After visiting Europe, Gatti and Amanda went to her country home of Brazil to see her family. The couple went to a bar on a Friday night and had a few drinks with dinner. An argument broke out between them. Then Arturo hit and pushed Amanda to the ground outside of the nightclub where a bunch of people saw it, right? So some of the people who saw this happen called Gatti out for hitting a woman and began hitting him. And they got in his face. And Gatti, being the fucking boxer that is TCO and knows how to TKO, he's not that
he
cute.
TKO'd one dude.
Yeah, he broke a dude's jaw, and then he got hit over the head with a bicycle. So after all this brawl, like is he like pretty seriously injured at this point or anything?
No.
He's not really injured. He can definitely take a punch.
He's bleeding from the head, but he's not like fucked up that much.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he's had years and years of being beat around the head, and he can handle.
Bleeding from the head's another day at the office for
exactly.
Mr. Gotti.
But the dudes that were beating him up, he fucked them up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So Gotti gets into a cab and he returns back to his hotel, and this whole while he's got his kid with him, right?
I think
he took the kid. She stormed off without him, and he took the kid. So we got a lot of this information from an investigation discovery show called Murder in Paradise. And they actually interviewed the cab driver. And I believe the cab driver did say that the baby was with Gotti. And Gotti was like so like kind of crazy that like it seemed like he was almost gonna like leave his kid in the cab. Like he said that he kind of like ran after the guy and brought him stuff of the kids or whatever. Like obviously like Gotti was pissed off, right?
yes.
So he goes back to the room and he's bleeding from his head, like you said. And witnesses said that the two were still fighting when they returned from the bar early Saturday morning. This would be the seaside resort of Porto de Galinhas, Pernambuco, Brazil. So the story goes, Amanda takes Arturo Jr. upstairs to go sleep, leaving Arturo Gatti Sr. downstairs to sleep on the couch. 10 hours later, 10 hours later, that's a long time to sleep.
It is.
10 hours later, Amanda comes downstairs and she finds Gatti on the ground dead. On June 11th, the day of his sister's wedding, which I thought was a little weird because he seems in the television series, he seems fairly close to his sister. Why would he not be with his sister on the wedding day? I don't know.
Some
right?
things that I read said that he was supposed to be at the wedding, but then he's also in Brazil, so
yeah, well, I guess if they're fighting really early on Saturday morning and 10 hours later, I mean, we could be talking like 3 p.m. or something. He could have, I mean, Brazil to Florida is probably not that long of a flight.
it's pretty far. But I mean, it's not crazy.
He could have tried to be, you know, I was just thinking about that.
I think if there was a plane ticket already purchased, that would have been mentioned somewhere.
Yeah, it's just weird that the sisters seemed close and it was her wedding day and he wasn't there. Maybe she was expecting him, you know? So like I was saying, it's the day of his sister's wedding and he's 37 years old. Whoa, that's how old I am. And he's dead on the floor of his hotel room. So Amanda told police she woke up to find Gatti's body early in the morning, presuming he died by suicide. She argued that there was no way she could kill a professional boxer of Gatti's size. She is fragile, young, and skinny. How could she kill a boxing champion? Amanda Rodrigues' attorney, Celio Avellino, said to the Associated Press. When she awoke, she presumed he had committed suicide, but so she had nothing to do with it. Gatti's body, that's fun to say, was found slumped face down in the kitchen after he had fallen from being hanged with the strap of his wife's purse from the staircase handrail leading to the bedroom upstairs. Okay, whoa. So
that's my favorite sentence of this whole thing.
yeah, it's a very complicated sentence. So the strap of her handbag is around his neck? Or there's markings?
You know, what is weird is there's markings. And what is weird is the strap is not around his neck and the strap is not.
Isn't it like under the table or something?
It's like away from his body a little bit.
And it's like...
And it's not attached to the handrail either.
Yeah, and when they did their own investigation, I think the Gatti family, they like the people, the forensic people, like couldn't reenact being hung by the staircase and having the body be where it is and having the strap be where it was. Like that was like hard to replicate. Or not replicable.
They did all these different tests with like an exact purse strap and like
an exact weight of
the
his body,
you know, the length of it and stuff, and it was just like impossible for him to like even attach it to like around his neck and to the handrail. So, but he definitely had striations around his neck, and there was blood on the purse strap.
It reminds me of a couple other quote-unquote suicide scenes that I'll just want to mention. If you've never heard of these cases, they're very, very, very curious, and I'd like to cover at least one of them on our podcast. But there's the case of Jessica Johnson in Mississippi in 2017. She apparently, after I believe a fight with her boyfriend, was found hanged by like one of those like really short mailboxes, like by 2 shoelaces. Like she took 2 shoelaces and like choked herself to death on this mailbox.
There's photos of that, right?
There's a lot of photos of her body online.
Really
It's very strange and very sad. And it was ruled a suicide. But again, she was having lots of issues with like her baby's father or boyfriend or whoever it was. So like, but again, like the investigation, not that great, kind of in this case as well. And then the other one it reminds me of is there's a dude named Anthony. What's his name? Anthony something rather. But who cares about him? He sucks. But there's a woman that was named Phoebe Hanschuk, and she was an Australian woman. Very, very, very beautiful. I believe she was a model even. And she was dating this older dude named Anthony. And super duper mysterious death that was ruled either an accident or I don't think they ruled it a suicide. They ruled it an accident. She was like found at the bottom of a trash chute from 12 stories up. Really, really, really crazy. And then like 10 years later, so this was like 2 years ago, 10 years later, like in 2018 or 2019, he had another girlfriend who died mysteriously, like when they were having issues. and she was found like hanging from like a cabinet door, like again, like really low with like a gold chain. And it was almost exactly like, or like a gold string or rope or something. Like they didn't explain it very well, but it sounds a lot like this one where it's like the chain or the thing that she apparently hanged herself with like wasn't anywhere near her body. And it was like, and like investigators couldn't replicate the scene, but it was still ruled a suicide. So it's like all of these like apparent self-inflicted, you know, injuries, suicides, right? They're all just like really weirdly impossible, but they still happen. And that's what's so concerning.
Supposedly the Clinton calling card is a red handkerchief.
Kevin, stop it with the Clintons. They did nothing to you. So like we said, the purse strap was found near the body, but not attached to the staircase, and also not attached to Gatti, but it did have some of his blood on it. A day later, Amanda was taken into custody after police found blood on her purse. However, she was released later that month, and Gotti's death was ruled a suicide. The boxing world wasn't convinced. Neither was Gotti's family and friends. So another sketchy part of this story is the will. At the center of the legal dispute are two wills that Gatti left behind. The first, dated 2007, leaves Gotti's fortune to his mother, brother, and a daughter from a previous relationship. However, the family has been unable to produce a signed copy of that will, leaving its legal status in question. Ooh, that's a bad thing to lose.
Yeah.
The other will, signed weeks before his death, potentially when there was a restraining order in place, leaves everything to Amanda and their son, Arturo Jr. The family maintains Gatti was pressured by his wife to draw up the new will, threatening him that she would take their son and leave if he didn't.
Yeah, she's going to take Arturo Jr. and bounce if he didn't
make her the new
this
benefactor.
New will.
Yeah. So on the 31st of July in 2009, the Canadian government announced that it would be seeking more information from the Brazilian government about what happened to Arturo Gatti. The Gatti family said that there would be another autopsy performed, and on August 1st, a pathologist hired by the Gattis said that there was bruising around Arturo's neck that was not mentioned in the Brazilian report. At the family's request, the Quebec coroner agreed to exhume the body so that two pathologists could conduct a second autopsy. The coroner's office released their report in November of 2011. Brochu, one of the pathologists, agreed with prior conclusions that Gatti died a violent death from asphyxia by neck constriction. He also noted that Gatti had carisoprodol.
I'm so glad that you're doing this word and not me.
You're doing a good job. A muscle relaxant in his system along with alcohol. An expert toxicologist from Quebec, retained by the coroner, said that the drug can produce withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, confusion, and psychosis. The coroner also stated that the, quote, obvious presence of post-mortem lividity indicated that the body had been suspended for some time before ending up on the floor. Two independent private investigators from the States, hired by the Gatti family, proved that it was impossible that Gotti's body would have been found in the place and position it was if he had indeed hanged himself. They believe his wife had an accomplice to assist with murdering Gatti. The motive was Gotti's fortune, which Amanda inherited since she was able to coerce Gatti to void their prenuptial agreement 3 weeks prior to his death. After all the new findings, information, and facts were gathered and presented by independent outside agencies from Canada and the U.S., Brazilian authorities again concluded that Gotti's death was a suicide and closed the case. So Amanda was about to be rewarded the estate, which was around $3.4 million, along with whatever money he also had, until Gotti's ex-girlfriend, her name's Erica Rivera, she started to get involved. So Erica suddenly started getting legal documents in the mail that appeared to threaten her daughter's trust accounts set up by Gatti. And it's the daughter that she had with Gatti. She launched her own wrongful death suit against Amanda in New Jersey, putting a freeze on the money and ensuring that nothing would be settled for years. This was in 2011. At the end of 2011, in December to be exact, Amanda was rewarded the money and moved back to Brazil. In 2013, Amanda moved back to Montreal and opened a boutique called Boutique AG, which stood for Boutique Amanda Gatti, on St. Denis Street, a trendy street in the city.
Needless to say, friends of the late boxer were not amused. Quote, "That's a real hell of a move on her part," said retired boxing champion Otis Magic Grant, who now owns a boxing gym in Dollar de Ormeaux. It's French, I'm not sure. I probably butchered that. Where he coaches and manages amateur boxing events. Quote, "The fact that she came back to Montreal to set up and live her life is real gutsy," said Grant. In an exclusive interview with Global News, Amanda has extended a hand of friendship to Arturo Gatti's mother. She said she would like her mother-in-law to put aside her suspicions to become part of her life. However,
Fuck that. even if it was an accident or a suicide or whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. She like had bad blood with the family, you know, with him. So I get that she has a kid by him, but like fuck that. I don't like that.
Some people think she's kind of trolling. So
How so? What do you mean?
like,
Oh, you want to be friends with me? Like
yeah,
fucking with her?
and like also opening this boutique in Montreal.
It's just trying to be. It's just
kind of like
it's a fuck
twisting the
you.
knife. Yeah.
Oh.
So, however, Ida Gatti,
I just don't think she's that diabolical.
like in interviews when you watch her, she doesn't seem diabolical, but
Well,
she
maybe
is
that's what makes her
pretty fucking
diabolical.
cocky.
Yeah.
She could be a total sociopath. Who knows? Ida Gatti, Arturo's mother, told Global News that she is afraid to be in the same room as her daughter-in-law. She is worried that Amanda could falsely accuse her of assault. Zinger.
Or she might be afraid of her because she's going to fucking kill her.
So what do you think?
Gosh, I think that'll never be solved. I think that if she did it, she got away with murder. But I'm going to err on the side of I don't think she could have done it. She's too small. And, you know, the hotel security said that, you know, there was surveillance and closed caption, you know, or closed circuit, not closed caption, closed circuit television.
Yeah.
No one went into that room. The key cards, you know, indicate that nobody went into that room. I don't think she had an accomplice. I think they got in a heated argument. She may have goaded him into doing something fucked up. I could see that. But yeah, I don't know. That would seem very difficult to do. They were both fucked up.
Yeah, it seems like those two investigators said it would have been impossible for him to do it himself, and she couldn't do it.
But she could goad him into doing it. Like, we didn't even really consider that. She could have been like, yeah, fuck you. You know, I dare you to...
Yeah, but he couldn't. It wasn't physically possible for him.
Well, maybe she helped. I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, how would it not be physically impossible?
I think the ligature was like too short to
go around his
bind
neck?
it around your neck and the handrail in a way to, like, especially if you're doing it yourself. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible because
obviously something happened. Well, how else would he have died then? He was just choked out by it?
I mean, they said that there's...
I wonder if there's any damage to the handrail or to the stair rail thing.
I don't think there was.
Dang. That is a really fucking mysterious crime scene or, you know, death scene.
Yeah. They said that the body, the way it was positioned, like the lividity, it was like in a hanging position for a while. So it was like kind of in a... I don't know.
So he was hanging then?
It seems to be.
Oof.
Evidence suggests yes.
It's so crazy for him to be this total, like, intense fighter his whole life, and then to just kind of die of like super mysterious causes by like a simple strap, you know?
Yeah, I
on a
mean, he
purse.
was...
Whether it was self-inflicted or from her. You
Look
know?
at Chris Benoit. I mean,
Yeah.
like that CTE shit is no joke.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to discount the fact that he was somewhat he was abusive to Amanda. Like
Their relationship was just abusive in general. They were abusive to each other.
Yeah. So I don't want to put like any total negative light on her because I mean, she was abused.
She gave him black eyes too, but he was a fucking professional boxer, so.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that like I don't want to put too much fault on her because one,
she's a passionate relationship.
She's been cleared, you know, and she hasn't gone on to like hurt anybody else that I know of. So maybe she truly is just innocent. You know, maybe she's guilty of maybe goading him to do it. You know, there's that kind of famous case of the girl that texted her boyfriend to kill himself, and he did. Yeah, she's already out. It's crazy. She was out in like 18 months or something. She was supposed to serve a couple years.
If you can get goaded into killing yourself via text message, then your will to live
is not very strong. No, he was already fairly suicidal, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm just using it as an example of like, you can, if you're in a psychologically fucked relationship and a physically fucked relationship, you know what I mean? You can really like intertwine those two things and psychologically fuck up your significant other.
Especially when your significant other is totally fucked up drunk too.
Exactly. She could have totally like I said, you know, if I had to pick a scenario, she goaded him into doing it and maybe didn't believe that he would. And maybe he just choked himself out and they couldn't explain the crime scene. So they came up with this thing of him being hanged. I don't know.
Well.
And you know what? We'll never know.
Case is closed.
Yeah. So you can join our True Crime Dumpster Facebook group. You can follow us on Twitter, TC Dumpster, and on Instagram, True Crime Dumpster. You can email us at truecrimedumpster@gmail.com. And you can listen to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and many other platforms. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends about our podcast. Every review, rating, and referral helps us to get to a larger audience. Tune in next time as we continue talking out the trash. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.